until it gets so old. Fall, geeky in it, fall, geeky in it, fall, geeky in it, fall. I love you with a warm or cold. I'll say it again until it gets so old. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam and K Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have an amazing show for you. We're going to talk about all of the crazy things going on right now. A speech that gave me chills. It should give you chills as well, done by Putin. Very, very freaky stuff right now is going on. So we'll talk about all of that and more, and we will have, of course, a really big announcement. So don't miss out. That will all be coming in just a few minutes. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. I love you with a warm and cold, and I'll say it again until it gets so old. I love you with a warm and cold, and I'll say it again until it gets so old. I love you with a warm and cold, and I'll say it again until it gets so old. I love you with a warm and cold. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam and K Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a ton to go over in a short amount of time. So if you're new here, remember you can go over to our website, marfooglenews.com, and not only get yourself notifications for our show, but you can also find a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we're going to show you. Now, over on the website, it's very easy to navigate. You'll just look for today's thumbnail. This was historic and not in a good way. And then, of course, once you click on today's show, you will find that it brings you to every single article, tweet, video, picture, document. Then once you scroll down, you will see that there is a yellow bar. That is web-only content and overflow. That is the stuff that is essentially all of the stuff we could not fit into the show, too hot for TV, or sensitive. So make sure to go check that out. An entire other show down there, so make sure not to miss it. Let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on today, and how are you doing?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
And just a reminder, we do have a Friends page. Friends of Marfoogle is up and running. If you go over there, you'll see all of our moderators, which all have channels or creations, whether it be they are authors, published authors, mind you, artists, and, of course, YouTube creators. They all have really great videos. Rip Curl just did a great video today. Of course, you have Trinity working on some awesome projects, CJ Blaze, and then, of course, Bones is also on there, Lisa R. Hall, all sorts of great people, RJL Harris. Make sure to go check them out. All right, and then right below that is all of the creators that we work with or are in our friend circle, the people that I believe are great on and off camera. So make sure to go check them out. All right, today is a call-in show. If you want to call in, you would need to call in soon. Again, the first part of the show, 224-400-MARF, and that number is scrolling down below. Diane Thompson, Hot Soup, thank you for being one of the last ones out last night. Diane Thompson, and then Steve Sarasota, thank you so much for subscribing. We have Mr. Willis. We have Wild Fox and Jacob DeLambo. Thank you for subscribing as well. Welcome to the Marfia. All right, let's get right into it. Xi wants new partners for its moon missions as its relationship with Vlad cools, or at least that's what they're saying. So hold on one second. Let me just set this up right here so we don't have any problems. All right, there we go. This is, of course, it says it was a little more than a year ago, as June 2021, at a gathering at the International Astronautical Federation, or the IAF, in St. Petersburg, Russia, and China and Russia announced hold plans for a joint International Lunar Research Station, or an ILRS, a crewed base at the moon's south pole. But that was 16 months and one invasion of UKR ago. And it says that Space News reports and doings on Earth have had big impact on Xi's plan in space. According to a news summary released from a meeting of the International Astronomical Congress, the IAC, last week in Paris, the Xi space program has gone cool on Vlad. International participation on its Chang'e 6 and Chang'e 7 and Chang'e 8 missions, uncrewed landings on the moon, planned for later in this decade. So they're essentially saying that things are cooling between him and Vlad. I don't know how much of this is Ganda. It seems like they are no limits partners everywhere else. Maybe they are actually going to separate themselves as far as space goes. But it seems like there's been a lot of BS coming out about all of these countries. Including information from the actual CIA saying that they have absolute information that Xi is telling everybody that they're going to invade Taiwan in 2027. Why would you say that so far ahead? It doesn't make sense. Again, there's a lot of things that are being put out there that I almost think are being put out there for a purposeful reason. So it says that this doesn't mean that Xi is dropping the personal proposal altogether. NASA is partnering up with multiple nations in return to return humans to the lunar surface as part of the Artemis program. And China was hoping for something similar with Vlad, and the ILRS was announced with enough fanfare that Beijing might not want to lose face by simply walking away from the idea. For now, Marco Albierte, a senior research fellow at the European Space Policy Institute in Vienna, told Space News, look for Beijing to, quote, officially celebrate the importance of cooperation with Vlad, while in parallel pursuing opportunities to better serve its national interest. So they're saying that they are possibly not going to be doing projects with them in space, but who knows? Maybe they won't be able to very soon here. And then NASA and SpaceX to investigate whether Crew Dragon spaceship could drag Hubble Space Telescope further from Earth. This is pretty trippy. It says NASA and SpaceX are working together to see if the company's Crew Dragon spaceship could grab the Hubble Space Telescope and drag it into a higher orbit. It says if Hubble were further from Earth, its lifetime could be longer, and the observatory's eventual death will occur when it loses so much altitude that it succumbs to gravity and falls to Earth. Hubble has already lost about 55 miles of altitude at that rate, and NASA expects it will deorbit in the mid-2030s. But SpaceX has offered to investigate the possibility of sending one of its Crew Dragon spaceships to actually grab the Hubble and pull it to a higher orbit, essentially with an arm that grabs it and physically pulls it up. It says that neither SpaceX nor NASA could say how exactly the reboost would work. That's why they're conducting the 6 months feasibility study, basically to see if it will even be something that can be done. And then we have Tesla just gave us a fresh glimpse of its humanoid robot ahead of its big AI Day event. What we know so far about the Optimus project, which, of course, named after Optimus Prime. First of all, I just wanted to say thank you to everybody that has already popped in, 2,400. I do want to warn you, the second half of today's show is not going to be fun. The first half is going to have some lighthearted stuff and actually some really great stuff. Huge, great announcement for the Fugel family, and, of course, really happy stuff to begin the show. But I will warn anybody that is watching the replay or watching here live that the second half of the show is essentially the world falling apart. So if you are easily panicked, or if you get really anxious and your heart starts beating crazy, you will want to tune out when I give you the warning to do so. I don't want to scare anybody, but there are some pretty bad things happening right now in the world. And, of course, we, as always, have a bibliography that you can go check what's going on. A lot of people are almost going to not believe what is happening right now, or if they weren't keeping up with things, they would honestly be pretty freaked out right now. But it does say that As far as Tesla is expected to unveil a prototype of its long-awaited humanoid robot on Friday night, and investors are surely hoping it will be more than a flailing dancer in a robot suit we saw last summer. It says the company is hosting an AI Day event where it will provide updates on all sorts of advanced tech, including the Optimus robot named after the Transformer. And let's see here. I think, yes. So we will. Now, Dex, did we have a. I didn't see. I don't think it loaded the. Did it end up having photos or I know that some of the other ones had something related to this, but we didn't have a photo of the actual bot. Because I do believe this already happened, correct? Or is this next Friday?
It's tonight. It's happening as we speak.
Okay, so we don't have an image of what they released. It's 8:00 p.m. Pacific. I think are they in California? So this might actually, by the end of the show, we will probably have a picture of this. So we'll update you. They're going to show this humanoid Optimus. Some people are happy about this. Some people that follow his stuff are like really pumped about this for some reason. But as we've talked about for the last week, they are already starting to replace people. Last night's show, we showed you Rhiannon S's video of what they are doing at grocery stores now. Of course, they have the system where you just put your whole cart on a stupid scale thing and they just, do all of it. Essentially doing away with any kind of checker. Now, if they have robots that will grab your carts, robots that will restock the store, pretty much the entire grocery store career will be gone. This is on top of thousands and thousands of other careers which are now under threat because they are getting serious about these robots. The robots and the chips and how small everything and how cheap everything has gotten, it's going to be more cost effective to actually buy a robot for a company than it would be to hire somebody. Before, it was such an astronomical price. If you did have something that would replace a human, it just didn't make financial sense. Now, according to Elon Musk and others, it will. That's why Elon Musk himself is telling people that in the future, your best bet is to have a guaranteed income, or basically a universal income is what they call it. That's why WENF is telling you that, in the future, you'll own nothing and be happy. Most likely because we'll all have the same income, and we, of course, will have nothing physical to tout, but everything will be in AR and virtual reality. So we'll own little, virtual belongings, which, again, people don't believe now, but just watch what's going to happen. And then Elon Musk's text messages show Twitter deal going off the rails. It says on Thursday afternoon, September 29th, the Delaware Chancery Court released hundreds of text messages between Elon Musk and other relevant parties in the Twitter deal. It says, given that Musk, the exchanges are revealing, irreverent, and extremely fun. It says they are also a rare look into the inner workings of Silicon Valley deal making, giving us some insight into the Musk's process and how he lost interest in this prized acquisition. This week, we dig into the most revealing exchanges, some analysis. So this basically goes over some of it. It says, John Lonsdale said, I love your Twitter algorithm should be open source tweet. I'm actually speaking to over 100 members of Congress tomorrow at a GOP policy retreat, and this is one of the ideas I'm pushing for reining in crazy big tech. Now I can cite you, so I'll sound less crazy myself. Our public square needs to not have arbitrary, sketchy censorship, which, again, it does. Musk said, absolutely. What we have right now is hidden corruption. It says 2 weeks before Musk announced he'd acquired 9.2% of Twitter, he received a text about his influence over tech policy conversations from Palantir co-founder Joe Lonsdale from the outset. It's clear controlling Twitter means great political influence. Sorry about this. Hold on. Let me fix this so I can so I can watch my P's and Q's. The pop filter only works if it's in front of my face here. People ask why this is in front of my mouth. Well, I can show you. But yeah. So, and then Jack Dorsey, Twitter this is a tweet directly from Jack Dorsey. He says, Twitter started as a protocol. It should have never been a company. That was the original sin. Musk said, I would like to help if I'm able to. Essentially what you see in here, it said that basically he made his move. He found out all this stuff through the tweets, and you can go through all of the tweets they have listed here. Essentially, he found out a whole lot more about it, and they say, this is what they're portraying through these texts that came out, is why he all of a sudden had a sudden, change of heart. Joe Rogan actually, this is Joe Rogan's tweet. It says, Joe Rogan, are you going to liberate Twitter from the censorship happy mob? Musk, I will provide advice which they may or may not choose to follow. And then it basically goes through. Musk wants to be a board seat, and Jack is elated. All of the stuff with Gayle King, Musk, and Parag. Of course, the tweets between him. And then Musk ditching the board. It basically goes timeline one step through the next of what happened. So it's very interesting. Definitely go over and check it out. Before we get into the scary stuff, I want to share some really great stuff. So let me put this first. So first of all, someone won the custom C10 from the Cars for Heroes giveaway, the raffle truck giveaway. I didn't get the final number yet on how many tickets were sold, but only a small percent was the Foogle fam, and it looks like somebody got lucky. So I'm gonna play this video, and of course, I guess Dex, what do you think would be better, the Facebook or the regular video first? Which one would be?
Play the Facebook one. It's short.
Okay. All right, so let's watch the Facebook. This was a Facebook Live video that went out earlier today from Cars for Heroes, showing the classic C10 truck. Let's see here. And one sec. That is the truck there, so hold on. I'm going to make sure we have this unmuted. There we go.
Somebody's gonna go cruising in this truck. We want to thank all of our sponsorship help: Marfoogle News, Shamrock Roofing, Tide Dry Cleaners, 101 The Fox. I'm sure there's a lot more that I'm not mentioning. Okay, it's about time, guys. Cars for Heroes raffle. Here's all the names. All we got to do is hit this button, and we're going to find out who the winner of this truck is. You ready, Terry?
I'm ready.
Hit the button.
This is going to be the winner of the classic
Who is
66 truck.
Fall
Kiki.
Kiki. You are the winner of the 66 GMC pickup. Congratulations. Just get a hold of us on Facebook Messenger or give us a call, and we'll get everything set up.
Okay, so we this was earlier today. We found out the person who won, Fall Geeky, did not watch this, and right before the show, we ended up giving her a call. So let's play this.
Paul, are you there? Hey, yes, I am. I'm so glad to hear from you.
Hey,
Can you hear me?
hey, Fall. This is Adam. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
I can. So I wanted to call you, and I'm glad that we reached you today, and I just wanted to say it's nice to meet you, first of all, and
Same here.
and second of all, I wanted to tell you some Oh my gosh, why is this Dex? I don't know why this is like so choppy. I wanted to see if maybe I can let me just close down a couple of the things before we move on here and see if I can get this to run flawlessly. Well, at least close some of the things that we've already covered here. Sorry guys, my PC's getting old. So hold on. See if that helps. Good news. You actually you bought a raffle ticket for a truck, a C10 truck.
I know they didn't call. My son bought one too. We were just like, we didn't get the card, so I went and bought him a card. But that's like fine.
Well,
did they raise it? Did they sell all the tickets?
Yeah, well, no, they didn't sell all of them. They sold 500, and well, I first of all, I'm sure everybody is like. First of all, I'm sure Cars for Heroes really appreciated, everybody that did go and buy a ticket. Unfortunately for everybody, else, they didn't win the truck. But fortunately for you, I'm just gonna. You did.
Oh hush, Summer! I won the truck. Oh my gosh! I went out and bought a car. I won the truck. I can't believe that. Oh Lord, I'm gonna have to go get a loan to get out.
You did not buy a car today.
I see this on the phone. He's telling you, hang on. Look. Well, it's the news guy, and I found it to his channel. Please call my son. He doesn't believe me.
Hey, this is Adam from Marfoogle News, and your mom just won a restored 1966 custom C10.
Go tell that. Oh my God, my mom is blown because I have two teenagers. One just left for college, and the other one's about to, like, a year apart, and I have to get out of the car. That's amazing.
Well, so are you thinking about, was this truck, by the way, you definitely won, so it is yours. Is this going to one of your sons, or are you going to drive it now because you just bought a car, or what's going to happen with this truck?
No, I'm going to drive that bad boy.
Yeah.
Upkeep on the old car. What are you talking about? No, that's mine.
That is awesome.
This truck everywhere. Sorry, babe.
Oh man. Okay, I'm super excited for you. So that was Fall Geeky, aka FG. You guys know them from chat, and I want to point out. So there couldn't have been a better person to win this. If, as you guys might have heard the other week, Heartbroken Survivor called in, and she is obviously in her 70s. She lives on her own. She is blind. It was actually FG was one of the people that reached out to check on her, and just you sent a letter basically of concern, just saying, is Heartbroken Survivor okay, and wanted to check. And there was only a few people that actually reached out and seriously took an effort to check on Heartbroken Survivor. So we actually just right before, responded back, thank you. And obviously we checked on her the other night after the storm, because Heartbroken Survivor is in Florida. So when this whole hurricane hit, a lot of other people checked on her. So FG is somebody who not only was thinking of her son. After talking with her a little bit more, it turns out that she just bought a car for her son. Now, she has two sons. One has some pretty severe Asperger's. She's basically somebody who always thinks about other people. She's always helping other people. And she ended up doing this and putting her own money out there to buy her son a car today. And I believe she bought it today or yesterday. And she ended up buying him a brand new Kia. And so this is really, really awesome. I am super, super glad that somebody from the Foogle fam ended up winning, and it couldn't have gone to a better person. So She is going to be driving that herself. She just won herself a classic restored 1966 custom GMC C10. So congratulations, FG, aka Fall Geeky. Thank you so much for supporting veterans. Thank you, of course, for being here and watching us. And I'm glad that we could have facilitated the fact that you found Cards for Heroes through us. So not only that, the money that was raised from this, 100% of the proceeds from this donated truck, that is going to go back into the system and then help even more veterans get into transportation. So Dex, that was really cool, and I'm glad that we were able to get a hold of her. She didn't see that Facebook that post, so luckily we had the element of surprise when we told her. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
I was like, and then I'm thinking in my head, like when I told her, and she says, "Oh my gosh, I just bought a car." They had no idea. They actually
gave up her car. Didn't she say she gave up her car
she traded
so that
in,
she could get a car for her son?
Yep.
And she didn't have a car, so now she just won a car.
Well,
Perfect.
no. Specifically, she traded in her old truck, which she used, and that was the truck that she basically used for all of their truck needs, and she traded that in towards this new Kia. She basically got him the kind of a base model Kia, but it's like the brand new. And to get that, they ended up having to trade in and put a huge down payment down on top of that. So this was huge. This was really, really awesome. And we were super pumped earlier today when we found out that one of the Foogle fam members won. That's huge. And I told you guys, I said there was only, at the time last night, it was like 180 tickets sold out of, they were only going to do 500 total. And they didn't expect to, they weren't 100% sure that they were going to sell all of them. But this announcement went out to the radio. It went to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people, and then our channel. And I think a very small percentage of the people that bought tickets were the Foogle fam, but it really mattered. We sold at least 20 tickets or something. So that's at least like $2,000 towards Cards for Heroes. So that's pretty awesome. So congratulations, FG, and that's why I put you in the song earlier. And of course, nobody else would have caught it, but what was it? Let's see. Congratulations, Fall Geeky. You just won yourself an awesome truck. And you deserve it. All right, we're going to be moving on. The news.
And Adam, just a quick reminder though, for everybody that wants to continue helping veterans, we always have the link for Cards for Heroes on our website. And if you can't remember it, just go to marfooglenews.com/C4H. You can get right to their website. If you need a car, if you're a veteran, or if you got one to give, great organization.
Yes, it is. And, of course, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world. And, anybody that came home from conflict or war, and not all states are treating them very nicely. So it's really great that there are charities like theirs that are specifically helping the heroes. They also help police. They also help firefighters. They also help anybody in special needs that, of course, has done something amazing for our country. So also know that a lot of their applications actually come from somebody that is a friend of that veteran. You know what Terry said is that most of the vets, they don't end up wanting to put themselves up for this because they are humble and they don't ask for anything. So a lot of the time it will be a family member that ends up filling out the application and putting them up forward saying, hey, this guy did something amazing, and they don't even talk about it. So that is one thing to think about. All right, so before we move on, we're going to talk about Hurricane Ian. We're going to update you on that. I do want to remind you, if anybody is out there and they don't have backup power, this is our recommendation because it is one of the best systems out there. We use it. This is how I run my studio. Again, Dex has one of these themselves. We both waited an extremely long time in the very early stages of this because it was such an amazing, of course, solar generator. This is an Energy Flex 1500. If you've never seen them before, this is an absolutely silent solar generator. This is why I think solar is On top, I think both people should have both, but really solar is the best way to go as far as long term, because you don't have to have barrels and barrels of gas stored up. All you need is some good solar panels. This system is absolutely amazing because it is modular. You can add as many batteries as you want, and I say that because you can actually extend this up to 96 batteries. At that point, each battery is 1,000 watt hours. So that point is, overkill. I don't know if there will be anybody in this world that will actually go and get 96 of them, but each battery is 1,000 watt hours. So huge capacity. And of course, if you have it hooked up to solar panels, if you know how this works, you could even be using it and while it is charging at the same time. So you may not even need more than one. So most people will go for the portability factor. You can throw this anywhere. You can throw it in your truck. You can throw it in your car. You can take it to your cabin. You can do whatever. And you can end up, using it for work, putting power tools and things like this. But more importantly, if your power goes out, whether it be from a disaster or whether it be from a forced thing like a rolling blackout or a major earthquake, storm, whatever it may be, anyone who has lost power knows it is not fun. You can go to marfooglenews.com/energy, use the code Marfoogle, and not only will you help us, but you will also get up to $170 off on certain packages. So that's, again, something that you should go check out. And then also they have the Kodiak X2 that is coming out as well. That is one of the best all-in-one built-in systems out on it's actually technically coming out in December. So I have a feeling that this is going to beat all of its competition out of the water. That is because it does have 6,000 tested charge cycles, which is something that I believe no other has. That means for 16 years running it from 100% to 0% every day. So if you ran the battery all the way up from the 100% to 0%, this thing will still have 80% capacity after 16 days of using it every day. So that is huge when you're talking about
Years.
Yeah. Did I say 16 days?
Yes.
Yeah, no, 16 years. After 16 years. And nobody is probably going to use this every single day. A lot of van lifers may, but even after that, you'll still have 80% of the capacity. So that's a huge deal. All right, and then that's marfooglenews.com/energy. That helps support our independent channel. That is, again, we don't get treated the same. All right, let's get our first caller on the phone. Let's see here. We have...
And Adam, we have Debbie.
Debbie.
Calling from California. Debbie is live on the line.
Debbie, you are live on Marfoogle News. What's going on?
Yeah, I want to say we love your show. My sister and I watch it, and we love you and Dex. Over here in California, we're watching the gas prices go back up to $6. And we're looking at some empty shelves with food. I mean, we went in Costco, and there's areas where the food is just not stacked up like normal. It's really strange. And then trying to rent a place here, it's like $2,200 to $3,000 for one room with a bathroom, for that kind of a room. And if you want a one bedroom, you're going to pay substantially more. You can't live and work where you can't live where you work. And I feel like we're being pushed into kind of a Hunger Games scenario where the rich are up there and they've got everything. And here we are at the bottom with basically scrabbling and trying to just live day by day. The people that have been in fires, there's a lot of them that aren't allowed to build back where they were, or the insurance companies are allowed to cancel their insurance. And so they're being pushed out. A lot of people are leaving California, and these are the reasons why. But I don't think it's confined to just us here in California. I think probably other states are having the same issues. I haven't really heard, but it's tough. It's hard.
Well, I completely agree with you as far as the gas prices and everything else, especially there's a lot of people that are forced to either drive trucks for work, or they literally use it for work, or they have to travel for work. A lot of people have to end up, because of the rent that you were talking about, they end up moving super, super far away from work, and then they're driving. So when you're talking about $6 gas prices, that's unbelievably expensive. And that's on top of the food inflation, the shrinkflation that's going on, and of course, everything else that has gone up. You are seeing more and more, I have seen more and more people that are just straight up living out of their car, that are actually living in their car and working I guess you would consider an upper middle class job. There are people that are, bank tellers, then going outside and sleeping in their cars. We know this. There's people in the Fugel fam. There are so many people right now that are, doing these normal corporate jobs, and not only are they not renting a place, but they're living out of their van or out of their car. This is getting super rough, and what media tells us is that everything is okay, or at least it paints this picture of that everything is still okay, but it's not. So Debbie, it's very disturbing that how many people are leaving California. Have you noticed how many people do you know friends that have left?
No, I don't really know a lot of people that have left. And I live near UC, a university. And so there's always an influx, a huge influx of foreign students. And that's the other thing that I've noticed, is how many foreign students there are compared to just normal population. And I'm not trying to be racist. It's just they're flying over here. They live here for the semester and they're gone. And so I think some of that might be the rent problem, except I'm seeing that the rent problem is up and down the coast and all through California. And, it's sad. It's sad to see our state turning like this. But once again, it is like the Hunger Games. And it's really concerning that we're on the edge of a war. For sure, we're probably going to have one. And we've got all these issues. And how are people going to survive that?
Yeah, I don't really know. And especially if something more serious happens, or if what media is saying is true and we're about to get into a really, really big conflict, then I don't know how most people are going to deal with it. Again, Debbie, I think that it does matter when people are coming, especially if they're students that are coming from out of the country. They have a certain amount that they're budgeted, or they know how much the rent is. Their family's helping them, paying those things. But if you're local, you can't really pay $2,100, $2,500, $2,700 for a one-bedroom apartment. That number is what cities on the West Coast are now paying. A one-bedroom, even a studio for $2,000, $2,100, $2,200, a studio that you can stand in one room and turn around and you'll see your toilet, your kitchen, and your bedroom all in the same room. That's what I mean by studio, like one literal room where the closet is outside. Everything is in one room. That is what people are paying. That's what people are paying in Seattle. The average one-bedroom apartment is $2,100 or $20,000, and that was like a year and a half ago. It's gone up since then. People are paying $2,500 for a one-bedroom apartment. Then, of course, yes, people can say, oh, well, not if you move outside the city. Yeah, if you want to get down to a regular rent, then you are driving 3-4 hours out of town. It used to be where you could drive an hour out of town, but even those places, now everybody has had the same thought, and now you're driving 3 hours out of town. And then with the gas prices going up and up and up, it offsets it. So even if you move and get cheaper rent, then you're paying that same amount back in gas. And then people just end up leaving and taking a less of a job out in the, in the boons or in the sticks, because they can't afford to have their good job. And possibly they can't afford to have their good job with insurance, so they're taking a lesser job near their home that doesn't have insurance, and then they're unhealthy. So it's kind of like this huge cycle. And I know plenty of people around here that have moved far away from Seattle, and it's the same thing. California, Seattle, New York, all of these big, liberal run states. So Debbie, well, thanks for calling, and it's pretty messed up. Yeah, I know. I feel you. I'm in one too.
Well, have a nice evening and keep doing what you're doing. We're prepping and we listen to you every day.
Well, thank you, Debbie. Thank you again. Thank you for your loyalty, and thank you for watching every single day. Debbie, you have a wonderful night, and God bless you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, bye-bye. That was Debbie from California. If you feel the same way, give us a call at 2244-00-MARF. That's again 2244-006273. Of course, Hurricane Ian has been going nuts. Tropical rainstorm after making final landfall as a hurricane. Damaging winds and flooding rainfall will continue to pummel the southeastern United States as Ian pushes inland. So obviously it's been running, and it's not over. It's still going, and it had a chance to kind of regroup. But it did say that Ian roared ashore at the South Carolina coast Friday afternoon as a Category 1 hurricane, down from a 4, with maximum sustained winds of 85 miles per hour. Thrashing the Palmetto State with dangerous storm surge, high winds, and flooding rainfall. Within 3 hours, Ian had lost enough wind intensity with maximum sustained winds of 70 miles per hour for AccuWeather meteorologists to designate Ian a tropical rainstorm. So it is no longer a hurricane, it is now a tropical rainstorm. It does say that they warned that despite that, Ian will still pack a punch and unleash life-threatening impacts as it pushes inland into Friday night. So right now, as we speak, it is hitting, and it's changing. It's constantly changing. The damage that has been done, there's cities that have been decimated. We have Fugel family members all over the place. Now, Dex, you are people there, and of course we have Fugel fam. Luckily, Jay, by the way, a lot of people asked if she was okay. Jay made it safely out of the danger zone, but even she said we should have just left. We should have left Florida, period.
Yeah. A lot of people went inland, and the way this tracked inland. So yes, it's safer to be inland to get away from that surge. Or where the heaviest parts of the storm were. So, but even on the other side of the state, they got hit. And then as it went out into the water, and now it went up into the Carolinas there, right above Charleston. So yeah, that's everybody there is getting hit. So this is a pretty major event for a lot of people. Certainly a Cat 1 is a lot less. It's not as catastrophic as a Cat 3 and a 4 that, was going across Florida. But don't kid yourself. I mean, a Cat 1's a big deal. It's still a lot of wind, and it's definitely a ton of rain that can create flooding and all sorts of other havoc. So, yeah, everybody in this path that has been affected by it or will be affected by it, a lot of this folks are going to have a long time recovering from the damage. So yeah, heart goes out to all of them. Prayers go out to all of them.
Now, Dex, I did want you to talk about the tech stuff here. We have 2 stories. We have Bruce Willis sells deepfake rights to his likeness for commercial use, which, man, he must be getting desperate. I'm not trying to say anything bad, but if you saw Cosmic Sin and a few of the other Netflix only videos that he did, or they were like straight to videos, Bruce Willis has obviously been a superstar for a lot of years, but it almost makes me think that something has changed in his personal life or something. But his last few movies
he's also
were
dealing
horrible.
With the illness, he can't act anymore, right?
Is that why?
He got really sick.
Is that why? What kind of illness?
I think that's why. I think I can't remember the illness, but I think he can't. He basically can't work anymore. That was like a year ago.
Really?
If I remember correctly.
Now,
but maybe and so maybe this is a way of giving new life, sort of like you were talking about James Earl Jones. It's like, hey, I've been doing Darth for so long, I can't do it anymore. I want to retire, but you can use my voice. So in the same sense here with Bruce, he's able to at least continue his style of acting, so to speak, in a computerized version.
Okay, I wonder
what they're doing. Kind of crazy, huh?
Because it was like his movies. He obviously, he was always an action star, right? But the last 4 or 5 or 6 movies he's done, I mean, they were over the top. They were very low budget, and they were horrible. And that could, one or two could be the fault of the directors and to somebody else. But I mean, it was like it was like somebody who just started drama in 10th grade, and they're reading across the room. Somebody's holding a piece of paper up. It looked like that. Sometimes you see him actually looking off to the side.
He was diagnosed with a language disorder called aphasia.
Aphasia. Yeah. So I didn't know that. That's why I said I questioned, did something happen to him? It said that he sold the digital twin rights to his likeness for commercial video production use. This is the second time this week. James Earl Jones basically allowed people he sold off his rights for his voice so then it could be used for Darth Vader in future Star Wars films, and they're going to make AI voice of it. When you start seeing this become prevalent, where all of these people are selling the rights, this is going to become a big part of Hollywood. You are all of a sudden, there's going to be articles and everything showing this, that the person you're watching in the movie is the likeness of that person. Val Kilmer in Top Gun can no longer talk. So now he is, I believe they used images of him. And by the way, something happened to him as well. He had a health illness, something that made him look different. They actually, in some movies, they've used a CGI version of Val Kilmer and I don't know if they did that in Top Gun. I believe in the new Top Gun, they used an AI version of his voice or something. But we're seeing this more and more and more, and most people don't realize this is the transition into this crazy stuff. I mean, we're using it on a daily basis at this point. So very freaky. And then Dex, if you can, I'm gonna change a battery here real quick. Battle erupts over alleged photos of the brain-hacked Neuralink monkeys.
Yeah, this is kind of a scary story in the sense that we continue to hear about what's been going on with Neuralink. And you got to believe that this is going on with more than just Neuralink, right? There's a lot of companies, and even some that even Elon himself had admitted were advancing faster than he wanted to see than he was expecting the Neuralink company to advance with these brain implants. But what's come out is there's basically a cache of grisly photos of monkeys that were reportedly injured during these experiments. And obviously that's not something that it's not good publicity. Some people don't think it's right or correct to use animals like this. I kind of question, on one hand, if many people will say they don't even want brain implants, but if you're going to create a brain implant, or you're going to create a heart implant like a pacemaker, I imagine, do you test the first one on an animal, or do you test the first one on a human? So, on one hand of the equation, people, there's people that agree that you should test on animals before you test on humans. And on the other hand, people say, no, don't test on animals at all. Right. So, it's sort of a catch-22, but what's come out of this obviously are some photographs, and I guess they're sort of being discovered through this lawsuit, and they're being held at University of California, Davis, and some other locations that have this information, and it is not a pretty sight. And we're not showing anything here. I don't think we're going to. I don't really know if they even had it on the article. But the point being,
it's really bad.
That this type of topic is one that is, very sensitive to people. I mean, we've heard a lot about animals being used for other things. Some people agree that you should do testing on animals before humans. Others agree say you shouldn't. So, I guess we have to have solutions to advanced technology, and then some will tell you we shouldn't be advancing this technology. So I totally get that argument as well. So kind of a crazy conundrum here, and also some pretty scary looking events that are coming out of this type of topic. And it's the kind of thing you would expect. I think, there's probably, caches of pictures like this for a whole lot of other experiments out there that just never saw the light of day. God only knows what other scientists and other things have been doing for the last hundreds and hundreds of years.
Yeah, as far as Neuralink, we have talked about all of kind of the steps up and everything else. Like, think about this. When people do have Neuralink installed in their brains, think about how hackable any system like this is. think about if somebody could hack you, just as in general, just the word hack and brain together in any sentence, in any form, is absolutely terrifying. And then we have Air Force asks industry for real-time oscilloscope to detect and analyze electromagnetic warfare signals. We have shown you every part of this. Basically, people are so against hearing anything about this kind of stuff. They think that it is totally BS. It is one of the biggest threats towards us. And look, we just showed you the other day. Dex, what that other article said that specifically Gavin Newsom.
Gavin was going to declare, he added EMPs as a reason to declare a state of emergency in a state. So
why?
That was fresh. He just did it like a couple days ago.
Yesterday. And then Gavin Newsom is on, he actually leads the biggest GDP state in the entire country. Bigger than New York. New York makes like $2 billion. $2 trillion. $2 trillion per year. Florida makes more than that with Disney World and all of the different tourist stuff. Go ahead, Dex. You were saying something?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, part of this, what's going on here is they're looking, and it's not, we talk about EMPs as in the big explosion in the atmosphere, but what this is also bringing light to the fact that there's a bigger threat or another threat that is that the advancement of that technology and using electromagnetic warfare items in other ways, and whether that be focused at a specific object or focused in, a range of things. And that and this is not a mainstream article by any means. We had to dig to find this because this is something they're looking to buy, and it doesn't exist. They're trying to get someone to create this oscilloscope so they can measure and detect when these devices are being used. So it's kind of one of those. We've talked about a handful of things that DARPA and others are doing to create stuff. So in this case, the military is specifically looking for this type of oscilloscope so they can use it to detect the electromagnetic devices that are being used in conflict.
Yeah. So they are responding to some. They're not putting this out to the public. They're not. I mean, it's not a huge thing. They are specifically looking for this. So only a few people really kind of caught onto this, that they're looking for this kind of custom oscilloscope thing to be done. That shows that they are looking for it because there is a threat from something that they're not trying to put on the front page. So be aware. This is why we talk about it. This is exactly why we've told you guys about getting EMP shields and being able to protect yourself. And then a sailor found not guilty of setting fire to that destroyed ship. It says a Navy judge has ruled that a sailor was not guilty of setting a fire that destroyed the USS Bonhomme Richard in San Diego in 2020. The ruling Friday came after a 9-day trial at Naval Base San Diego. Seaman recruit Mays was found not guilty on the charges of willful hazarding of a vessel and aggravated arson. So do you realize what just happened here? The guy that was the fall guy for the entire thing, catching on fire for 5 days. This is huge. So first of all, this ship, which was an amphibious assault carrier, caught fire, and it caught fire for 5 days straight. It just kept burning. A lot of us questioned if this was some sort of space weapon, right? And we asked the question because just a few months before that, or which one was first? It was Xi and his country. They had an amphibious assault carrier catch fire in port and catch fire for 5 days. Now, these assault carriers, they don't have a bunch of frilly curtains on them that will catch fire and just keep burning. They're mostly made of steel. And then, by the way, there was no accelerant, right? It's not like the gas tank went boom, boom, and just kept burning. A lot of them actually burned, and everything was just kept burning and burning and burning. Then the U.S. version, and it might have been vice versa. I want to say Xi's was first, and then all of a sudden our amphibious assault carrier caught fire, and also one in the I country caught fire. for 5 days, and it burnt. And this wasn't in a conflict. Both of these, the one in Xi's country and the one here, were both in port. They were still parked on the dock when this happened. Well, the one here, to set it apart and say, oh no, complete coincidence. No, a guy went crazy and he was not a model soldier. He just got all charges dropped. He's not guilty of doing this. It said that prosecutors charged the then 19-year-old Ryan Sawyer Mays with arson and the willful hazarding of a ship and accused him of igniting cardboard boxes in a lower vehicle storage area. There is no physical evidence, however, links May to the fire on the ship, which was docked and undergoing maintenance at the time. It said the Navy report last year concluded that the fire destroyed a $1.2 billion ship, amphibious assault ship, which would be used for like island hopping, for island kind of conflict. Which again, after Xi got his taken out, think about how Xi is about to do amphibious assault, island hopping kind of conflict, and then one of their biggest amphibious assault carriers is taken out. Was this a tit for tat? Oh, you took out ours? But again, this is under really, really suspicious things. And if a guy down in the lower levels is what caught a fire, okay, so he could have been a paid spy, whatever else. He's not guilty. So what the heck did cause that fire? Well, oddly enough, this thing caught on fire and was super hot. A lot of people question, is this something that we don't know about? Like something that is like a magnifying glass in space that took the sun and just went zzz? I think that would be the simplest explanation, or some sort of laser thing that's almost invisible that heats something up or takes the steel conducts something and is able to heat it up to these super crazy temperatures to where it destroyed a 1.2 billion amphibious assault carrier. So there are some funky things going on here. More than 20 senior officers and sailors were disciplined in connection with the incident. 20 officers. Weird. All right, just keep that in mind, folks. This is what we're talking about. There's all sorts of weird stuff. If you haven't already, make sure to go over and check out marfooglenews.com/EMP. Like we have said, look at what is going on. That's how we pick our affiliates. We pick our affiliates because we want to pick things that will possibly save your life, help you, live your life, or keep you comfortable in a disaster. So if you haven't already, make sure to go check out marfooglenews.com/EMP. Again, this is a device that not only is being utilized by agencies like DHS, DOD, but now the DEMSO team helping protect the Texas grid. This is also the device that is the company that is mentioned in the DHS, Department of Homeland Security, EMP Resilience Report. When T-Man signed that grid to harden our grid, the executive order, this is one of the companies they called. And it's actually the stuff that they're doing for the government is completely and crazy up there classified, but you can get a consumer version of their device for your home, for your car, to keep your car running after an event like an EMP or like a CME. This actually covers you against both kinds of events. Not only that, it can protect your home, your cars, your generators, your boats, your RVs from lightning as well. So if you live in the Midwest or somewhere where there's a ton of lightning, if you know anybody that's ever had damage because of lightning, this basically is supposed to ground the signal from either an EMP, CME, or lightning strike in 500 trillionths of a second before it can fry your device. So that's how sweet this thing is. It's 100% American made. It's a veteran-owned business, and they are absolutely one of the best companies you'll ever deal with. Their customer service, again, knows us, and we know them personally. These guys are awesome people. Make sure to go and support them. At the same time, you're not only getting a $50 off discount per device, a huge grandfathered in discount, but that also stacks on top of any discounts they're doing. If they do a sale, that stacks. And you are helping support our channel at the same time. That's marfooglenews.com/EMP. All right, moving on. Again, we're going to go over to our next caller here in just a second. It looks like we have Rip Curl. Let's see. Yeah, let's go to Rip Curl, and then we're going to start getting into the heavy stuff. And then we'll... in fact, while you get Rip Curl on, I know I did a couple things out of order here.
Rip Curl's live. Alex.
Okay, okay. Rip Curl, what's going on, man?
Hey, good to be on the show again and be able to talk with you guys. Thank you to all the Foogle fans. Good to see you guys. Sorry I haven't been in chat. I've been watching, but been holding on the back line. As you guys know, I haven't been doing as much out there, and it's just because I've been taking time to do some things more proactively in my local area to help it with preparedness, especially with things like this, what happened in Florida there with the hurricane and whatnot. Things like that can happen anywhere, but it doesn't mean I'm not out there doing things. So a story was shared with me from one of our longtime Foogle fan members, literal Foogle fan, that he wanted some help looking into deeper. And and Dex does have some pictures there that he had me look into. And what the first part of it is there was reports of, possible movement of radiological devices at a North Dakota Air Force base. I believe it was Minot. Now, we like to look into our stories and we like to try and back them up as best we could. And so one thing I want to say to people is don't be too quick to criticize something or say, oh, it's not that, or oh, it's just normal, or it isn't normal, or anything like that. Just take it for the information it is, because that's the reason why it's being given. I think it's important to be informed, because then you can prepare for things. Because as we know, with everything that's going on right now around the world, with Finland having special planes that carry these things, and we have UKR and Vlad and G making all of their threats with literal words, is kind of unprecedented. So when a story like this comes up, I thought, you know what, this is worth digging into, because you don't see us, except for in a few areas on the East Coast where they've put up a few signs on what to do. It's not like they're handing out stuff to us like they are in other countries, right? To protect us or to give us information on what to do in the case of an event. Well, so what you're seeing here is this is at that base. Now, what I couldn't confirm completely was that this is recent photo. But what I can say is that with all the talk of tactical size radiological devices that they say they want to use or aren't afraid to, that case you see right there, that guy standing by, that's a W80 case. I was able to find that exact case. That's used to transport the conflict heads of those kinds of devices, and specifically for what we consider tactical, which would fit into things like tomahawks, crews, and even gravity-fed, dropped devices from airplanes, right? That is the container that fits those, and they were unloading them out of the concrete bunkers and then transporting them. I'm assuming, and I'll make sure people are clear on that my assumption would be is to install those into the units they go into, to make them active, let's say, okay? And I was able to find that diagram for that one, and we use this certain conflict head right here, a radiological device, in many of our smaller tactical devices. So that's what you're seeing here, is them moving it. And then there was one where they do show a truck, that a convoy that was headed out. Yeah, right here you're starting to get to it, where it looks like either installed units or those are getting transported somewhere else to be installed, because this convoy, I was able to confirm in the past, it looks exactly like this. It was said back in the day that yes, this is the kind of convoy that transports those kind of things. et cetera, et cetera. So that's where I was able to do with that. And the reason why I think this is important for people to know is because with everything else going on, I think you have to take everything as a whole when you look at things. And the other side of this story was there was another one that we can't show because of copyright issues, but it was a video in the UK of their convoy that's just like ours transporting those kind of materials through London. And I was able to confirm on that one that that's a current video. It was within the last 7 days. It was 7 days ago. And that one there, I was able to also confirm that in the past, they've copped to the fact that, yes, that's what that transport looks like, and that's what it hauls when it's hauling. So, you know, the reason I want people to know about this, because with everything and all the talk going on about, you know, tactical this, tactical that, which is, you know, a feasible thing, that people need to be aware of this, because, you know, it's information that helps you prepare. Whether it's 100% what we know is going on, I mean, because let's face it, it could be that this could be a bluff, right? But with everything else going on, wouldn't you just want to try and have the knowledge to start with, and maybe get some, you know, medicine things set up, some water, you know, just like it'd be like ignoring the hurricane, you know, until and just say, it's not ever going to be anything. And then of course it levels everything. Right. So, you know, I think it's important to know, because I don't think we're getting information given to us telling us like, well, hey, look, here's where you go for bunkers, and here's what you should take in this event, and here's what you do in that. I mean, Americans aren't being informed like we are, like other populations are all over in Europe, right? And in those areas. So, you know, I think there was enough evidence here, especially in the second one, even though I can't show the video because of the copyright issues, I was able to confirm that one and that convoy there. So I just thought it was, you know, something that everybody should be aware of, you know, take precautions for, you know, I mean, there are things we can do. I know a lot of people think that if we have an altercation like this, it's just done and everything's cooked, right? But that's not the case. And if people want to see an interesting video, they can look up about the 4 servicemen that stood at ground zero and lived long lives into their 90s with a small tactical device being detonated above them in what would be considered a high altitude detonation. And it didn't hurt them in any way. They just had to wear sunglasses. So, and there was no long-term radiological effects, but lots of damage could be done if that was brought down any lower, right? So, but yet still people will survive and have to be able to get through this kind of thing. So I just wanted to make everybody aware of that. And if I find out anything newer on this picture, I'll be sure to call back if that was current or not. But, you know, I kind of think it was.
And the whole thing is, it's kind of freaky seeing this huge vault, and think about the money that goes into transporting just 6 at a time. When you look, so each one has to go in this case, and then for it to be safe, I was wondering, I'm like, what about the trucks and the bump? That picture at the very end is, you obviously got the kind of blueprint for one of these holders. It says that the inner part of it is a huge foam, and there's an inner container outside of that, and then that's floating in this foam, and then the whole thing is sealed in this, and then they actually chain this thing down, 6 to a huge truck. They're not stacking them like 10 high or something. They're basically moving 6, and then if a convoy of this is going, think about how much money they spend on each 6 that they move around. These trucks are obviously, unmarked trucks. The truck driver's probably extremely experienced. They probably have all of the clearances as far as what they can haul. I believe it's recent too, just because of what's going on. It doesn't surprise me at all, but it is pretty freaky to see this kind of stuff if it is being moved. And then, of course, that other video, we do have the link for that, right? Can we share that to the rest of the Foogle fam? I know that we can't play it because of copyright. Do we?
Yeah, Dex has it.
Okay, all right, good. So the video he's speaking about, which has been confirmed within the last 7 days, that will be on marfooglenews.com under tonight's show. All you'll do is look for this thumbnail. There's more. So, by the way, while we have you, Rip Curl, we haven't talked in a while. Rip Curl is a mod here, and he's been doing a lot more creation himself, and he's also been out there locally. He's been doing a lot of stuff proactively, trying to work with his, as far as going out today. You actually talked to some not protesters, I guess some folks holding up some signs for their side of the aisle and being proactive and trying to get the message out there. You've been active and trying to, basically talk to people and get people involved in everything that's going on right now, especially before this season starts of everybody putting their ballots in the box. But as far as we haven't talked in a minute, and you've dealt with a lot of stuff. You were in Oregon for all of the fires. You did some really great videos on the spot. In fact, Rip Curl drove around when all of these crazy fires happened, and you could see one house was not touched and the next house was just melted down to the metal. You've dealt with a lot of stuff. In fact, your house didn't get burnt down, did it? Or did it come close?
No. It was at one time it was coming our direction, but the wind shifted and it kind of sent it another way. So we lucked out there. There's lots of prayers going for us, and I always appreciate that. So, no, we lucked out there. And this year, we got hit again with another pretty good fire thing, but it was down below us in Weed, California. And it took a good number of homes and businesses down there too. So that's down south of us, quite a way, or a little ways, not long ways. And the smoke always comes and sucks in our valley when that happens. But, so yeah, we were able to avert it this time, but I try, when there's local things, especially, and the reason I stopped for that too, is it was just off the cuff, no warning, just jumped out there because, what was interesting and that I liked about it, and I encourage people to go watch it, is there was people from both sides of the aisles. That's a great thing, that are speaking out, saying how displeased they are and why, and in an intelligent, respectful way. And in an eloquent way too. These are not just people yelling and screaming and looting stores and things like that. So, I thought it was neat, and it was of all ages. It really was. It turned out to be something really great.
Well, again, that video is over on Rip Curl's channel. Rip Curl is on the friends page. You can go over to marfooglenews.com/friends and find Rip Curl. But also on today's show, he will be there as well. All caller info, anytime we have a call-in show, all of the caller info will be on that show. So you can always find it very easily. You don't have, if you can't find it through search, because again, like Trinity, for example, her channel has a very long name. A lot of people type it in wrong, and the tube is not very good at getting you channels. You type in something and they'll give you everything but what you actually want. So thank you, Rip Curl. But there was one other thing that I just kind of spaced out on. As far as these things, do you think they could be defensive or offensive? Some people are saying that we might be kind of a strike first thing.
Well, I would not be being honest if I said that thought didn't go through my mind. But, I don't want to get, people all scared and worried. But, when you have a lot of talk like this and you have a lot of movement on both sides and stuff like that, well, I think it's even in Vlad's, instruction manual on his side, saying that, they want to use a first kind of strike in order to de-escalate, right? So why wouldn't we do something like that? Possibly, right? So I don't think it's beyond possibilities, quite honestly.
Well, and Kim Jong-un just set it up in his laws that if he even suspects that we strike or do anything, that they will automatically launch at whoever it is that, tried. Even if somebody puts something in his drink, if he feels like somebody is trying to take him out, he has made it to where they will automatically do something where they'll automatically launch nuclear missiles. They tested 2 right after Kamala. Did you end up watching the Kamala going to the DMZ and that awkward kind of exchange? Did you get a chance to watch that yet?
I did, and that just boggles my mind. I don't get it.
Okay, thank you. And
I mean,
not even the misspeak, but the weird moment.
Like,
go ahead.
Well, and you know what I think the intent was? I think what the intent was too. One thought I had was as she's looking through those binoculars, which fortunately this time she took the caps off, so it's a little more realistic, as opposed to the last video she did a while back. But anyway, she was looking through there, and I could kind of hear what she was saying to the soldier that was right there, and it was almost like she was trying to make it seem like, oh yeah, look, you can see, almost like she was trying to insinuate that you could see like this giant missile off in the distance, right? As if that was the point of it, right? Because she did make that slip saying, I the way I understand it, or however she phrased that, that they may have that capability now. But it almost seems like that was the point of that, is to try and make it seem like, oh, yep, there they are right there. Right.
Well,
that's kind of one thought I had too. So,
Rip, what's kind of funny is when you see the photos and all of the stuff, you see it from what they show you. I ended up seeing a live stream that was the behind the scenes and people yelling and reporters arguing and saying, oh, be quiet. Some woman basically said to another woman, like, shut up. And I was thinking, how am I watching this? This is, and Kamala stood there. They don't show her awkwardly standing there waiting for nobody to come out. They show her walking away and everything is organized. The video I saw, there was 20 people lined up. And of course, you realize that they are setting it up for a scene, just like a movie where they have everybody in their place. And there's even a person, their whole job, the guy's job that was in my video on Twitter, you can see he goes, I want you guys all to be like this person. He's a perfect example of how I want you to be, because they're lining up everybody so they all get their picture and they all get the good angle, whatever else. But they're arguing, and then they start getting panicked and they start going, we got to go, we got to go, we're going to go. And on their side, you see her with the binoculars. These are the pictures that do get put out, is her looking in the binoculars like, oh, they just launched something or this. But when the camera scrolled up, and I don't think it was supposed to do it on purpose, somebody was leaning out the window with a weird lime green and white tracksuit. It was the weirdest thing ever. Like, it's not a military suit. It's some guy with a tracksuit with a hoodie on, leaned up outside the window, like looking. And then a guy in the darkness behind him. And I honestly thought when I was watching that, Rip, that something was going to happen to her. I thought, because all of a sudden the supposed live video started looping, and it kept going from her head to her legs, and it was making it look like they were just lowering and upping the camera. But then you see the same hand do the same thing, and the same hat and the same comment. It was so chaotic and weird. That plus Finland, closing down highways to practice landing on it. Xi doing their amphibious drills. The U.S. doing their drills. Vlad doing 12 times the Arctic drills that they're doing. Russian and Chinese ships off of Alaska. You have Vladian ships off of Hawaii. You have us moving military all over the place. This new thing going on. And then the speech from Vlad today. Not only his speech that said he's going to annex, mobilize, possibly 1.2 million people, but his speech at the concert, this was meant to be historic. You could tell, like, this thumbnail is from the concert where he came and speeched, and then they played this, like, Vlad's country's music, and it was just loud, and everybody's cheering. I don't know if they picked a concert that's 100% on his side, but it looked like everybody was behind him. Like, what do you think about just everything that, if you look at the big picture, Rip?
Well, Yeah, in countries like that, from what I've, the reading and shows and documentaries and things like that I've watched, it is totally different like that. I mean, if they're going to put something together like that, yeah, it's going to be made to look like everybody is. I mean, there's a lot of propaganda out there, and that's how they, fight wars or conflicts these days. Sorry. And so, yeah, I'm sure there is great groups that they put together like that, just like, our current leader tries to do, but they have to zero in the camera in order to make it look like it's packed, instead of, when Vlad says, hey, show up, you show up. And, now that you mentioned that too, the chaotic part of the video with, Kamala kind of gave me the feeling that it was almost like she wasn't expected or welcomed or wore out her welcome. And that's where when the disorganized kind of tried to get out of there and everybody getting antsy to bail might have came on, because that could have been, like you say, what you saw in that window very well could have been that, and that could have been spotted, and there could have been, like a little warning saying you need to leave, right? So and that's what could have rushed that all along, like they went out there to set something up that wasn't, say, necessarily approved, or at the last minute, Mr. NK just said, hey, I'm not interested, and get away, so it's hard to say, but it definitely was odd.
They could have put a 50
we'll
cal.
say that.
They could have put a 50 cal out the window or something. Just said like, "Hey, this is our hello." I don't know. It was definitely very very weird. Well, Rip, thank you so much for calling. We've got another caller behind you. I appreciate you calling in tonight.
Yep.
And it was nice catching up, man.
Yeah, good talking to you too, and good to see all the Foogle fam, and much love like always, and you guys are always welcome, and say hi whenever.
All right, well, thank you, Rip, and appreciate you. Much love. If you want to find Rip's channel, just go over to marfooglenews.com/friends or go to tonight's show. So Survival Game says you're not saying Kamala right, and I know how to say Kamala, but you are right. It's said Camel A, right? That's how you say it. Camel A. It's Kamal, Camel A. That's right? Camel A. I think it's just easier to say Kamala, but you're right. I'll start saying Kamala. Kamala, my Lord. Yeah. Kamala. All right, moving on. That will never happen again. No worries. And then Vlad, United States created nuclear precedent by bombing Japan at the end of the second conflict. We'll talk about that here in just a second. Xi told U.S. banks like Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan to avoid publishing politically sensitive research ahead of key Communist Party summit. Dex, do you want to cover this one real quick? We have the Xi Securities Regulatory Commission.
Their reach is, greater than anyone ever would expect. We've seen it in Hollywood. Obviously, we heard them tell their own banks to prepare for, stuff they were doing, buying up more of their yuan and getting rid of USD or US dollars. But here we have them reaching into our banks and giving them instructions on what they're allowed to talk about and not allowed to talk about. And this information was actually being circulated throughout, these big bankers. So it's kind of interesting when you think about who has power, who has control. When you see something like this, like, Xi pushing a message into, these massive institutions like J.P. Morgan and Goldman Sachs and others, as if they're expecting them to do it, and then they actually do it. They pass the message around. So it's just mind-boggling. when you think about it on one hand, and then on the other hand, you probably go, wow, we kind of expect that because we've seen how much embedded Xi has become into our ecosystems and into, in this case, our financial systems. So yeah, aside from the fact that they just don't want people talking about anything negative while they're getting all hyped up for, their big event with their party, that's neither here nor there. It's the fact that they think that they have that much power, and the fact that these banks would actually pass the information around. That's kind of startling, in my opinion.
Yeah, and it kind of backs up the theory that they have a lot more pull in the background than many people actually are willing to admit. I think there's a lot of scary things going on with places saying that they're doing something for one reason when really it's because they're being told to do that thing. Buster the Dog, thank you for being here. Again, thank you, Michigan Lifestyle Call Sing, I believe I'm saying it right. Rob Mills, thank you. Zen1AZ, Chilster Deluxe, Spartacus Now, Vivian P. Big shout out to my buddy Mitch if you're watching the show. I hope you got supplies and everything together. Mark Troost, Brian D., Captain Scotty, yep, the N, W, and of course the O. But I wonder, Captain Scotty, if it's two different orders trying to fight the old order and the new one, right? There's got to be an enemy and there's not even it's an anti-hero and an enemy. It's like the bad guy and the badder guys. I don't know. It seems like it's that way. And then thank you, Texas Rob, for gifting out Marfia badges over on DLive. Thank you, Leo X White. Thank you. I don't know if you're still here. Earth Woman Yobi says, have popcorn, waiting for the stuff to hit the fan. You're going to need a lot more popcorn and about 5 microwaves. Michael K. I'm sorry, Michelle K. Sorry, my eyes are going. Today's events changed everything. That's right. We're going to talk about that here in a second. Scooby-Doo Do Right. Kimbria. Hey, everyone. Happy Friday. That's why we thought about starting it out with all of the good stuff. And obviously a Foogle fam member winning a custom, classic truck. That is awesome. Congratulations again to FG. Super, super pumped. And even when I was, by the way, I just want to put this in there. Even when I called, I said, you bought a raffle ticket, because we basically told them, we told her that we were calling because I wanted to talk to her. Obviously, she showed concern for Heartbroken Survivor, and I was going to call her and just say, hey, thanks for looking out for your fellow Foogle. So she didn't know it was about that. And then when I said, you bought raffle tickets, she still said, oh, yeah, we just wanted to support, blah, blah. She still didn't think anything of it. And I think she even thought that it was already over, like they didn't get it. So just want to point out, that's the kind of person that FG is. And the fact that she won is even a bigger thing. I am sure, though, that's going to cause some arguments, because I guess she bought a ticket, and then her college-age son bought one ticket with his own money as well, and he didn't win. But, of course, she just put thousands of dollars down and traded in her truck so he could have a car for college. So that's pretty huge. That's a mom for you. That's a really sweet mom. And again, I think any of us, most of us love our moms, and I think that's shown by actions like that. Texas Rob 49. Pretty soon we will all take all of our money to the bank, the blood bank. Yeah. Vol11. Please keep my fam in Florida. Prayers. It's a mess. Yes, it is a mess. Aunt Jenny, and I'm praying for him too. I hope that your family's okay. Aunt Jenny, and of course Buster the Dog, and everybody else over there on DLive. Thank you. Deep State of Mind, Skyhouse, and everybody else that just popped in. Thank you. Over 5,000 in YouTube chat at one point here, so thank you. Appreciate all of you popping in. And then Vlad vows to use any means to defend annexed UKR regions in new nuke threat after biggest land grab since WW2. Dex, so this is did you get a chance to watch the full video? I watched the video in the concert, but I believe you were pretty busy.
No, I was in an appointment most of the day. I read through some of it, but I did not get to actually watch it. I listened to a part of it, but it unfortunately wasn't translated, the part I was listening to. It sounded intense, though.
Yeah, it sounded like it was supposed to be. It's like one of these videos where you think this is something that in 50 years they look back at, and it's almost like everybody felt like it was historic. The audience looked terrified. There was I don't know, probably 1,000 people there. It looked like. If you saw the audience's face, they all had the same face. I've never seen that many people. Doesn't matter what culture they are. I've never seen that many people look so stern and so serious. I realized that the first couple rows were, I believe, military, but behind that, every single person had the same look, and it was like this. There was not one smile. There wasn't a couple people 5 rows back talking and giggling. Everyone was stern and on him. He was essentially saying something that is a huge escalation, saying that he vowed to use by any means to defend the 4 UKR regions annexed to Vlad's country after the biggest land grab since WW2. By him doing this, him being the major power he is, whether it is under their control yet, they're basically declaring this is our land, and this is basically you can't go back. You can't go back from this. It's no longer a special military operation. It's them saying this is our land. Dex, am I taking that right? Is that how it when they're annexing?
Yeah, redrawing the border. They're redrawing the border. They're saying, hey, there's a new line here, and this is now Vlad's country. So we're going to defend it as if you were to cross the border the other border that was there yesterday.
That means if somebody goes in there, they can use a tactical nuke. They can use mother of all boom booms. They can use whatever they want. Because now they're saying we consider this ours, and any respect from any other country, India is still working with them. Xi is still working. This is setting up for them to just annihilate people with their bigger weapons. And even if all of NATO says we're not going to listen, we don't acknowledge that, right? Doesn't matter. He'll do it, and all of his allies are going to acknowledge it, or most of them are. So we are splitting the planet up into 2 parties. And by the way, there's a lot more parties than you think on Vlad's side in this. People think, all of NATO. NATO is only so many countries. There's a lot of other countries that are either in the middle or secretly backing and helping Vlad. So this is a big deal, and people need to pay attention right now. And then United States created nuclear precedent by bombing Japan at the end of the second conflict. It says that Vlad said that U.S. created nuclear precedent by booming Japan and vows to smash the satanic West. We all see that he's, it's been years of rhetoric and back and forth and pounding the chest and saber rattling. It's at the point where I think people are starting to get that this is getting real. Whether they're all behind closed doors and high-fiving and saying, look at how much money we made. Look at how we just had the world on its head and control and all of that. Do you think that they care about our lives? And if we do go to a WW3, this is why I don't think the world will end and everything will be annihilated, because I think they have plenty of military and plenty of humans that can go battle each other and perish, and they can sit in their gold toilet houses. It says, rants that America is still occupying Germany. Anglo-Saxons blew up Nord Stream and warns he will use all forces to defend annexed UKR regions, which now he is declaring these areas are now our country, whether his troops are in control or not. Basically, if there is 10,000 soldiers in there and they have complete control and they're sitting around smoking cigarettes like the articles say, if they're just chilling in there hanging out, well, now it's his country as far as he is telling the rest of the world. He said, we have officially said this is our land and we are going to defend it like we will defend Vlad's country. That means they can go in and go, say, well, it's our land. Don't worry about it. We're destroying our own land. We're defending our homeland. We're defending the motherland. And then said and used WW2 as an example, said Vladimir came close to threatening nuclear conflict by creating a confusing parallel during Friday's speech where he claimed that the U.S. set a precedent for using nuclear weapons against Japan at the end of WW2. Vlad said that the satanic Western Anglo-Saxons have made the leap from issuing sanctions to conducting tea attacks in a hostile speech delivered from the Kremlin. Now, when you watch that speech, when you see everybody, people are taking it serious. I don't know if they paid everybody to have the one-line lip, but man, this is what we've been talking about for years, and nobody believed us. Nobody wants this to be true, and everybody says it's all fear-mongering, this and that. How long are you going to say that for? Until somebody wearing a red badge is at your door? Sorry, like it's at this point, people need to get real. And, you know, I think it's mostly they think we're geographically protected or whatever. And I'm speaking for people in the United States. For a long time, we were geographically safe. It was very hard to come here and do damage here. Now things have changed. A lot of things are long range, including all of the stuff they've been doing to make it so they can get here. And if they can't get there, they ally with people that can. They're setting up police. Xi is setting up police stations around the world overnight. Like, what the hell is going on here? They control Hollywood. They control media. They control everything. Like, it's getting pretty dicey. All right. If you guys haven't already, make sure to go check it out. Go to marfooglenews.com/prep. Highly recommend getting long-term survival food. The price on all of this stuff has been going up and up and up. I would get it yesterday, not tomorrow. If you do go through us, you can help support our channel. We are completely independent. We don't have a multi-channel network. We don't have a billion-dollar company behind us. We have the Foogle fam. If you do want to go get yourself some freeze-dried food, long-term survival food, MREs that are packaged into different packages, such as a 72-hour kit you can throw in your bag, or a month kit that can either be used for one person for a month, 3 meals a day, or you can split it into two for 2 people for 2 weeks, or you can go all out and get a 3-month kit. They have all sorts of different kits, and they're 20% off right now, which that's a huge savings considering these are something that can literally save your life. Go to marfooglenews.com/prep. Make sure to go check out all of the other stuff they have there as well. All of it will not only, in most cases, get you a discount, but it will also be helping our small channel here. So thank you. Again, Alexa Pure Pro is highly recommended. It can filter a ton of water in a short amount of time and get rid of 99% of 206 contaminants, including heavy metals, lead, fluoride, chlorine, viruses, bacteria, pesticides, and even pharmaceuticals. If you don't trust your water, then highly recommend Alexa Pure Pro. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody that goes through our affiliates. It helps us get by since we are covering current events, which basically if you're not approved, if you're not CNN, Fox, or whatever, then you're at the bottom of the barrel. So thank you, everybody. All right, Dex, we have our next caller. Do you want to introduce them?
Yes, Adam. We have Heartbroken Survivor, and Heartbroken Survivor is live on the line.
Oh, this is awesome. Okay. Hey, so I don't know if you did you call in because you heard about FG and everything else?
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody for being concerned about me the other night. That blew my mind. It truly did. I appreciate it. I mean, I've never felt so special in my whole life. Second, I want to congratulate FG. You can tell me anything you want, but God works his ways. She got her a new truck after giving her truck up. You can't tell me that's not what it is. It's awesome. I'm thrilled for her.
I know. And when
I'm in
I don't know if you saw my face, but I realized, I thought, oh my gosh, she just won a truck, but then she just bought a car. And I'm thinking maybe she wouldn't have bought that car. At first I thought, oh, she bought herself a car. And I'm thinking, oh gosh, she just won a truck and she probably is now stuck with a car that she can't return. But it turns out either way, she was going to get her son a car for college. So she selflessly got rid of her own truck and then got her son a car and paid money down to end up helping with the down payment and everything else. So that's huge. But yeah.
She's an mom. Yes, it is. An awesome mom. I was wondering, the last few days I've had this really uneasy feeling all over. I had some new work done on my low back the other day, but I've got an uneasy feeling, and I was wondering if the rest of the Foogle family was feeling it. I mean, from my feet all the way up to my head. It's just a shaky feeling, like a pin fixing to drop or something. I don't know if it's just me or everything's just going to pieces, it seems like. And we just got to stick together. We really do. Adam, you and Dex are doing just what you should be doing. We don't have to agree on anything, but we do have to listen to each other's side. That's the only way you communicate. And love and forgiveness is what works. Because we're in a world of hurt. The caller before me, I can't remember his name. That was an awesome call. I can't see what he was talking about, but I would imagine it would have to be something like a funnel. If it floated around with styrofoam, was that shaped as a funnel?
It was more, and you know what? You just made me realize that even on Twitter, when you post things, it says it helps if you post a description, because then those that are blind can click on a button, or they can say a word that makes it read out the description. It was more like, it looked kind of like, and by the way, if you didn't know, Heartbroken Survivor is, are you in your 70s or in your 80s? I didn't want to quote.
70s.
Yeah.
Oh, now 70s.
No, 60s then. Yeah, she's in her 60s. She's in her 70s, and she is blind, and you are completely independent and on your own. So you wouldn't have been able to see the pictures. The pictures we showed, essentially, they are of a flatbed, like long, big rig truck with one of those huge, long flatbeds that normally you would see actually, holding maybe one or two huge tractors. Like if you saw a tractor chained down to a flatbed, that kind of truck, only out of the whole long truck, probably 40 feet long, I think it was like a 40-yarder type of truck or something like that, but without the bed. And it had 6 big steel containers, and they almost look like, I don't know, maybe a 6 foot around. If you had to hug the biggest guy you ever seen, about that big around, just put your arms out and hug. And they were white, steel containers that looked like almost like a sideways, what do they call it? Fire hydrant, like that kind of metal. And these huge things that could be bolted down on the ground, and then chains went through a hole on them and held them down. And then inside of that, there was a blueprint that showed essentially a cap comes off the side of it. It's like a cylinder, and a cap comes off the side of it, and then it holds basically a warhead inside, and then it has a layer of foam in between that. So yeah, it's trying to find a better way to describe it, but it basically looks like a huge cylinder, about 4 or 5 feet wide by about 3 foot deep, and then about 3 feet high. But yeah, there was only 6 per truck, and these trucks were being loaded from what you can see is a huge bunker with a 50-foot door, and these military men are loading them up on trucks and supposedly taking them somewhere. So that's the pictures that were there.
Sounds like it's getting serious.
Yes, it does seem like it. Hopefully, everybody wants to be a glass half full. But at the same time, you should at least you should prepare for glass half empty, right? Your attitude should be half glass full, but your preparing should be half empty. So
and the other night, I know I don't have a camera in my house, but the other night you said you shouldn't have water stacked up all to the wall and to the ceiling. I got water stacked everywhere I can stack water. But I live alone, so it ain't no big deal. And I only have 2 visitors a month, so that it ain't nothing. But I got my water now and my food. I I know it's coming. I know it's coming, and there's nothing we can do about it but be prepared. That's it. That's like the people in the hurricane. We ran from the worst hurricanes from here, and we had lots of tree barrier around our home, and we couldn't even pull in our driveway for our trees being down. But now they've built up houses everywhere and 5-story condos. I have no wind barrier anymore. There is no way I would sit here and say I'm going to stay. I'm going to get my butt going somewhere if I have to call the Fugel fam.
And they would come and get you too. People reached out.
Yes, I did.
When the hurricane hit, a ton of people asked, and after you called in, a bunch of people ended up saying, "Hey, Heartbroken Survivor is really sweet. She is an amazingly smart lady. Is she okay?" And then Dex reached out to you. How did you feel when you knew that everybody was asking about you?
I was listening to the show because I was in bed. I was shocked. I was shocked that people that don't even know me, we've just talked and we chat, cared. Because it's you get kind of a different view of life when your family's gone and you have no one around, that you can reach out and call to come help you up with something. And for people that I chat with and I listen to, and they cared, come get grandma out of Florida. I'm telling you, you just don't know what it meant to me. The Fugel fam is amazing, and I love each and every one of you. With all my heart. My prayers go out to you every night. You don't know what it means, and it especially means something because I can't see. It's a different world when you can't see. My hands and my ears are my life now, and my feet. And it's different when people that you don't know care. It is just an amazing feeling. And I don't know why everybody thinks I'm sweet, because I'm not. I got them all fooled.
Oh my gosh. And, I think you would have to be, right? You would have to be a tough cookie to do this by yourself.
That's what I keep getting told. I can't see any other way to do it, though, Adam. I mean, you can't just lay down and die. That ain't what God's got in store for me. You just have to, anything anybody gets, you just got to keep going. There is no stopping until you die. And I'm a long way from there.
Well, Heartbroken Survivor, again, we were really glad to hear that you were okay and that you were on the other side of Florida. I would say, so it sounds like you have water and everything else stocked up. Again, I think there's a lot of people that care about you. I would say that just be careful about how there's always somebody that's willing to take advantage of people out there. So if you do need help, try to facilitate something with, either one of our mods or something else. If there is some sort of event in the future, make sure you really know somebody before letting somebody help you, or, make sure that they're somebody good. I know how the internet works, and there's nasty people.
Yeah, they're out there everywhere. And it's hard. It's hard to, you think you know somebody and you don't. And you think you know your friends, and then they walk off on you, you don't. So, but I know I got friends in Fugel fam that don't even know me. And it's a very reassuring feeling when I lay down at night. I thought the other night that if the hurricane was headed this way, I could call somebody. I called Dex. Somebody would come get me. I knew that in my heart, somebody would come get me. And that takes a bunch off of my mind. I mean, you just don't have any idea how much weight it took off my mind. I love all of y'all. I love you, Dex and Adam and Mods. Got the best channel there is.
Well, we love you too, Heartbroken, and I know the Foogle fam saved my my brother-in-law, my sister, during that Texas storm. Were you watching when that happened?
Yeah, yeah, I sure was.
The Texas
I was
snowstorm.
amazed.
Yeah, it knocked everything out. And for anybody that wasn't here, the storm was so bad. My brother-in-law was on a business trip. He's in sales, and he basically got put up in a hotel there, and then it snowed in. And that was the time that it was all over TikTok and social media that all of the pipes burst and people, it was just as dramatic video as, you know, what's coming out of the hurricane, which if obviously, you know, you've been hearing about it, but it was really dramatic. Yeah. He was in a hotel that essentially lost power and lost water, and they said legally we can't have you here. He was in the middle of 4 feet snow. There was no buses. There was no Uber. There was no transportation whatsoever. And legally, they had to tell them to leave. If they don't have running water and power, they say you cannot stay here. So they let them hang out for a couple hours in the office, and they were forced by law to say you have to go, even though they had rooms there and everything else, but they had no heat, they had no water, they had no nothing. So they didn't want to get sued, so they said you have to go somewhere. So they gave them like 3 hours to find somewhere to go, and then they were saying you have to leave. They couldn't even stay in the lobby. I posted up a community post, and I went live. I don't know if I even went live. I posted a community post and said, is anybody in the Texas area that you know, my brother's stuck? I told him what happened. Within minutes, we had responses from all over Texas, and a gentleman ended up, I got to pick from people. I ended up talking to a couple people on the phone. One was closer than the other, and then the guy had just a crazy rig. He ended up going out in the snow, driving an hour, picking up my brother-in-law, and then bringing him back to his house. And he apparently was a corporate sales too. And they ended up getting along, going out to dinner. He ended up spending, I think, 2 nights there until he could get him to a airport to where he flew home. So he put him up for 2 days, picked him up, and then I guess he let my brother-in-law pay for dinner and beers or something, because my brother had money. He was willing to pay, but the Foogle fam member didn't let him, but he did let him pay for dinner or whatever and beers. So it's like that. Those are the kind of people that are in this audience. You know, a lot of people want to pick on me or pick on Dex or whatever else. We're not the show. The show is the Foogle fam. The show is you guys. I believe that, you know, people want to pick on, personal stuff. This isn't about me. It's not about Dex. It's not about any of the mods. It's about the community itself. And it's never been about anything else. Like, that's what it's about, an idea. And anybody can have an idea. I'm not a perfect person. You're not a perfect person. As you said, you're saying, oh, I'm not a sweetheart. I'm a tough cookie. Again, we all see what you don't. And again, I think people see through all the BS, and they either like somebody or they don't.
Yeah. I've been watching you since you was in your car doing your little short videos on your phone, and that's when I got my TV and I started watching it. You were the first thing I clicked on my YouTube, and I've been with you ever since. But I was amazed that night that, you know, your brother was in dire straits, and it was before your show went off. I mean, it wasn't long, and you already had connections, and people want to go get your brother. That is the community. We all do love each other, no matter what the differences are. That doesn't matter. We love each other. We're concerned about each other. And the other night, I felt it like, you'll never know how much it means to me. You really don't. Y'all have restored my faith in mankind, because it's been kind of shaky a lot right in the last few years. When I lost my sight, the people that I knew, they didn't want to be around me like I was handicapped or something. And I understand it's difficult being on the other side too. and I feel like they thought they had to take care of an invalid, and that's not the way it is. And I've tried to show them that, but they don't see that part. They want, oh, I'll get that or I'll do that, and then they don't want to come over. But I can take care of myself. And I talked to one of my case managers yesterday. She called to check up on me, and she said she couldn't wait to meet me because the lady that had come out the month before told her all about me. She said her house is neater and cleaner than mine is, and was telling her I had plants, I had cats, I had my house clean. I'm just a regular person. I just can't see. That's the only thing that has changed. And my peace inside, I got that I see things differently than I did before. Your eyes don't tell you the truth. I had the surgery done Wednesday morning, and my doctor came to mark my back where he was going to work at, and he says, "Do you know? I bet you don't know what I look like or anything." I says, "All right, stand up tall and talk to me." I said, "You're about 5'6" to 5'7". I blew his mind. He's 5'7". He says, "How much do I weigh?" I said, about 150 to 160. He said 170. He says, "I'm getting out of here." But people don't realize you can tell how tall they are by where their voice is coming from. If it's high above my head, I know they're over 5 feet. It's things I figured out. I haven't been to school for it. It's just common sense. You have to figure out. And then the nurse came and she says, "All right, tell me about me." And she was sitting there beside me, and I says, "Well, you're about my height." And she says, "You're right." She says, "You're scary." No, you just have to learn. You just have to pay attention. That's it right there. Pay attention. And my life is great. Everybody realizes that me being blind is not a handicap to me because I don't let it be. My big mama would whoop my butt if I dared said I couldn't do something. She would whip my butt all the way back to Charleston, which is where I'm from. But I'm happy. I mean, God's got me where he wants me. I wish my husband could have known me like this because he always called me a worrywart. Because every little thing, I'm OCD, and every little piece of paper, this and that, everything had to be so. And now I can't see it. I keep a straight house. I can't see paper on the floor, so it doesn't bug me anymore. Life is so much easier. And life is great. Life is great, and I am happy, and I want everybody to know that. I wish I could bottle it up and give it to y'all. But it's something you have to find for yourself. You have to let go of hate and anger, the things that life is all about, and get it for yourself. But let me tell you, when you get it, you will fight the devil to keep it because it is the best drug in this world. Oh, I could sell it for $3 a bottle and be rich. Life is great. And anything bad that happens, this whole world it'll survive. It'll survive. It ain't all catastrophe, everything gone. It ain't gonna be that way. Can't be.
Dex, heartbroken. I don't mean to.
Heartbroken survivor. This is Dex. I just want to tell Adam we have about 3 minutes left in the show or less.
Okay,
but you're so awesome. I love listening to you. You're so wonderful.
Yes. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank y'all. I love y'all too. Go Adam.
Heartbroken, we have at least one more story that we need to get out, but I appreciate you, and I'd love to talk to you again, and I'm sure everybody would love to hear you call back again. So, again, we'll check up on you, and we'll keep checking up on you, okay?
Okay, sweetheart. Good night.
All right. Well, thank you, and you have a wonderful night. God bless. That was Heartbroken Survivor, and one thing, real quick, by the way, after the show ends at 2 hours, we cut it at 2 hours because it doesn't process right, and it just ends up screwing up for 10 hours. Go over to Marfoogle Jams. If you want to stay on YouTube, you can continue the show if we end up doing the rest of the show through that. make sure to click over to Marfoogle Jams. I do want to say thank you to just a couple people while we're still on here. Post Anything 3, thank you. Appreciate that. Says, great stream as always. Human Tiger says, how about this? When Kamala says NK our ally, maybe it means NK send the EMP. I don't know. Human Tiger, thank you. Carol McLean, thank you for the both super chats there. This is a terrific site. Love y'all. Mystery School, survived Ian in my RV between two AM ETs box trucks. Much love and prayers, all hit by the storm, to the best mods in Foogle fam. So Mystery School says that between two huge trucks, they parked their RV in between and survived it. That's incredible. Thomas C. Bryan says, over from D-Live, happy days. Josh P., congrats to FG. That's a sweet ride. Only news I use. Wish I could send more. Josh P., don't worry about it. Thank you. Just make sure to share and get the stuff out there. K. Parker Frazier, thank you, Adam Dex Mods, for all you do. I wish I could spare more. Don't worry about it, K. Parker. Share, subscribe. Thank you. Steel Hauling DC, doing good work, Adam Dex. Thanks. And then Kate Barra, thank you. Zelensky on attack on the convoy in Zaporizhia. Bloodthirsty scoundrels. Remember, you can follow us on D-Live, and the show never stops. The shoutro, all of that will be on Marfoogle Jams and on D-Live. D-Live doesn't stop at all. If you want to go over there, if you don't have that app, make sure to download that. Bloodthirsty scoundrels, you will answer for everything. That's his comments there. Most importantly, what if we're already fighting the third conflict with Vlad? This is, again, Dex, do you want to go over this real quick? And I guess we'll just, we'll finish these last few here and let's just, I guess, take our time here.
So everybody, if you're on, just head over to Jams. The link's in chat if you missed it. Yeah, this is really a very interesting